Welcome back to the Bangtan Universe Wormhole. This is Karen with a news flash about Jimin's upcoming mini-album and the return of a flower that's central to BU lore. His pre-release MV is for a song called Smeraldo Garden Marching Band, and the concept photos for this song are bursting with blue and purple flowers. But how much do you know about Smeraldos? Are they real, or do they only appear in BTS videos? And what do they signify? I'm here to answer your questions. But first, please give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and click the notification bell so you won't miss out on our newest content. Now let's get started. So far in Chapter 2, every solo release by a BTS member has contained at least one reference to the BU. For instance, V played with repeating time loops in Friends. Suga filled his concert VCRs with clips from BU-related music videos. And Jimin had muddy feet and stared tragically into a bathroom mirror in his Like Crazy MV. And now Jimin is dropping even more BU content, peppering his album art with Smeraldos and filling his concept photos with hundreds of them. Back in the old days, we felt privileged just to see a bouquet of Smeraldos. What are we supposed to think about Jimin's parade? Well, first let's answer some basic questions about Smeraldos, beginning with whether or not they're real. No, they are not real. They were created specifically for the BU. But because BTS and Big Hit never miss an opportunity, they've given us a detailed history of the flower in the Smeraldo blog. And naturally, that history comes with its own set of Easter eggs. But we'll save all that for another video. In this news flash, I'll give you a condensed version of the Smeraldo story and add a link in the description below in case you want to know more. In the Smeraldo's fake history, it was thought to be a legend until someone discovered real Smeraldos in 2013, the year of BTS's debut. The flowers are still considered very rare, but a florist named Testesso starts the Smeraldo blog to talk about the flower and his plans to sell Smeraldos in a shop he's opening in Songju. In fact, Testesso is the florist who sells Seokjin a bouquet of Smeraldos. And we all know how that turned out. But Seokjin's story is just the tip of the iceberg. Smeraldos appear in other parts of the BU as well, and the most important thing to remember about them when you see them is what they represent. In the language of flowers, they represent the truth that can't be told. That's right, BTS's song, The Truth Untold, is really a story about Smeraldos. Specifically, it's about a fable that Testesso relates in his blog. And truths untold are a major theme in the BU. Let's start with the obvious. Seokjin's whole relationship with his girlfriend is based on truths untold. He found her diary but didn't give it back to her. Instead, he used its contents to make himself into someone he wasn't, the man of her dreams. But a love based on lies can't sustain itself. That's why fake love contains the line, "I grew a flower that can't be bloomed in a dream that can't come true." And it's also why we see Seokjin trying and failing to protect a Smeraldo at the beginning of the MV. But Smeraldos were hidden in BTS's MVs all the way back in the HYYH era. They first appeared in Run, in the scene where Yoongi is drunk and raging while Jungkook tries to calm him down. Notice that when Yoongi smashes a mirror, the Smeraldos are destroyed too, even though they're not in the path of the flying furniture. They're destroyed because Yoongi has a truth untold, and it relates to mirrors, or more precisely, to his self-image. All 7 BU characters have the same problem. They can smile when they're together, and they look happy in mirrors when they're together, but when they see themselves in private, they hate themselves. This doesn't change until the Love Yourself era, when, surprise, surprise, the characters learn to love themselves. So, getting back to the HYYH era, Yoongi's self-hatred is a truth untold. That's why he smashed the mirror, and that's why the Smeraldos were destroyed even though they weren't in the path of the flying furniture. Yoongi also thinks that anyone who gets close to him will be hurt just because he's hurting, and that's why he pushes Jungkook away from him when Jungkook tries to hug him. That relates to Jungkook holding a Smeraldo in the Japanese version of the Run MV. He looks disgusted, and he crushes the flower and drops it to the floor. Now, Jungkook is keeping truths of his own untold, but I think this scene is another reference to his relationship with Yoongi. The clues here are number 1, the petals turn black after Jungkook crushes them, and number 2, Yoongi's sweater has a sketch of his face that was taken from a photo shoot, but the artist has made his face look burned. As you know, Yoongi burns himself to death in the HYYH era. So when Jungkook crushes the Smeraldo, it turns to ash, because he tried so hard to hold on to Yoongi, his favorite Hyung, but Yoongi abandoned him by killing himself. If you've seen our profile video about Jungkook, you know that abandonment is a major issue for him. Oh, and if you're confused because the Save Me webtoon shows Jungkook dying before Yoongi, just remember that the dates of Yoongi's suicide change constantly in the different time loops. There must certainly be time loops in which he died before Jungkook. That explains Jungkook's anger. Well, first and most obviously, Jimin is promising us that the BU will be back in full force. The other members hinted that the BU is returning, but Jimin has taken the hints to a whole new level. That makes me wonder if he'll drop any spoilers about the next era of the BU in his Smeraldo Garden Marching Band MV. And that makes me wonder how many spoilers the other members have dropped in their solo releases. Actually, Q and I are working on that theory right now, and we'll get back to you about it. Right now, let's return to the idea of Smeraldos. As I've already said, their symbolism in the language of flowers is the truth untold. And so far, they've only appeared in scenes where characters are leaving truths untold. But in those scenes, the Smeraldos were always blue or pink, and in Jimin's photo shoot, a tiny few of the Smeraldos are white. Could this mean that in the next era, some of the boys will finally tell their truths untold? It's something to think about. I could go on about Smeraldos for much longer, and in a later video I will let you know all the fascinating details and clever Easter eggs that go along with the story. But for right now, if you'd like to learn more, just follow the link I'm leaving in the description below. Thanks for watching our newsflash, and Apo Bangpo.